Let's go through the bathtub method. This is one of my favorite hacks to keep my houseplants happy and healthy whilst I am traveling. I have been using this method for over 4 years now, but it is definitely not a new one. I have used this hack across summer and spring, and the longest I have left my houseplants for using this is for 25 days. Let's get into the how-to. To start off with, you need to be selecting the right plants. This works well for tropical beauties like the calathea, maranta, and ferns. Arrange your plants in the bathtub, keeping them fairly close together. This will create a humid environment. If you're adding in trailing plants, such as the begonia, make sure that the leaves aren't in the water. Once you have all your plants arranged, you can add about an inch of water to the base of your bath. This is enough water to keep your houseplants hydrated for about 4 weeks, but isn't so much that it will cause issues such as root rot. The reason this won't rot your plants is because the water level is staying at the very base of your pot. Unless you have a houseplant which is particularly root bound, then the roots should not be submerged the whole time. In fact, this method encourages deeper root growth as the roots reach down towards the water. This will make your plants stronger in the long run. For this technique to work, there is a few must-haves. To start with, all of your plants need to be in pots with drainage holes. If your houseplant is in a planter with no drainage holes, then this method will not work, but I encourage you to repot it into a plant with drainage holes. Majority of my houseplants are in nursery pots which have ample drainage holes. The few that are in decorative planters do have plenty of drainage holes as well. The second must-have for this technique to work is natural sunlight. I am lucky to have a skylight in my bathroom, so there is plenty of sunlight getting in. If your bathroom doesn't have any natural sunlight as well, not even a window, then this technique will not work. Houseplants really need natural sunlight to thrive. Keeping them in a dark, wet environment for 4 weeks is not going to end well. As well as sunlight, you also still need ventilation. I keep my windows open just a crack to make sure that there is airflow still. Now, I know a lot of you are worried about bugs. I am lucky to live somewhere that doesn't have dengue fever, and I don't really get mosquitoes at all, so this isn't an issue for me. I do sometimes suffer from fungus gnats though, so set up a few traps before I leave. I like to add a few sticky traps to my plants and also set up some apple cider vinegar traps. Again, I've never come back to an infestation or any issues with bugs after leaving them for over 3 weeks. Another reoccurring comment I get is that this method is going to stain my bathtub, block the drains, or leave scratches. Now, whilst the water did get a little bit murky whilst I was away, it definitely isn't staining my bathtub. As for soil blocking the pipes, I add a mesh round to my drain before I release the water. This captures any soil or debris that is being washed away. These mesh rounds are so helpful. I use them both when I'm watering my plants, and I also put them in the base of a lot of my house plants. This keeps the soil in your planter and helps to prevent soil degradation. As for any scratches, I haven't come across this either. As I said, most of my plants are in nursery pots, which is plastic, so they aren't going to scratch the bathtub. Some are in ceramic, but again, they're not moving around, so they shouldn't be scratching your bathtub. If you are particularly worried about your bath getting scratched, you can add a towel to the base before you put your plants in. This is just a preventative layer in between your plants and your bathtub. I have tried using a towel before, but I did not enjoy having a dirty and wet towel, which I then had to move through my house to wash it. For me, I just raw dog it straight on the bottom of the bathtub and have never had an issue. As you can see, most of these plants look great still after over 3 weeks away. The only one that looks slightly perturbed is the maidenhair fern. I know calatheas have a reputation of being hard to maintain, but they all looked perfect, whereas my maidenhair fern looked like I tried to kill her. I did give her a quick trim of the more yellow leaves, and she has bounced back like it never happened. I usually frequently mist my ferns to keep them happy, but there's really no way to do this whilst you are traveling. Once I had removed all my plants, I just gave the bathtub a quick spray and wipe. And I mean quick, this took under a minute to clean and didn't require any elbow grease. You can see I used an eco-friendly spray, so I didn't need any harsh chemicals, and there was absolutely no yellow marking. This is your sign to give this a go next time you go away. As well as calatheas and begonias and ferns, I also will add in my palais, peperomias, scindapsus, and philodendrons. Plants which won't enjoy this method are any that are particularly prone to root rot, such as the Monstera Thai constellation. Obviously, cacti and succulents don't need a constant water source either. Honestly, I wouldn't addition to any prep for cacti or succulents, if I was going away for a month, I would just give them a quick water beforehand. If, like me, you have over 100 houseplants, they're obviously not all going to fit in the bathtub. You can replicate this method using bowls or tubs or even a kiddie pool. Likewise, if you don't have natural sunlight in your bathroom, you can use sinks in a brighter room. For my bigger houseplants, like the fiddle leaf fig, I use a large bowl or saucer, which I will then fill up with water as well. I do have a whole separate video of how to keep your houseplants happy and healthy whilst you're away, even without a bathtub. Let me know if you have any questions that I haven't covered already.